they certainly need an update, and probably an update where we exclude a lot of these earlier self-report studies and just say we have so much data from wearable devices now. We have big health data. I mean, you know, and we have companies like now Google and Aura and Fitbit. I think, you know, Google probably owns Fitbit, but it's just everybody has a wearable these days. And the fact that we can't mine some of these larger data sets like the UK Biobank or the NHANES and formulate better guidelines that are based on objective evidence, I think is kind of a disservice probably to public health. I'm going to get 75 minutes per week of vigorous activity, but I think they need an update. And I think that the idea that we're just saying, yes, you know, twice as much moderate if you're, you know, than vigorous.
I mean, I am using those guidelines as well. And now I feel like my you know, I've shifted my understanding of those guidelines, and I have a different sort of take on them where it's like, okay, well, maybe we're really undervaluing the importance of vigorous physical activity. And so that needs to be communicated to people. You think we can at least communicate to people that, hey, look, there's new studies out there now showing that it's not just a 1-to-2 ratio. And in fact, depending on the health outcome we're looking at, that ratio changes. You know, and that's how biology is. It's not just this big blanket thing, right? I mean, we always try to make things simplified for everyone, but they're not simplified. Like, there's lots of nuance here. And I think that it should be communicated in our public health, you know, guidelines.
I mean, I think this kind of going back to the idea of simplicity, the public health guidelines for some people, like, they have to be simple. And I think that has informed sort of this, well, we're just going to say 150 to 300 minutes or 75 to 150 because it is simple. If you make it too complex, people get confused and they just say, forget it. Like, I'm not even going to try to do it. Maybe you need to do this much. So we could almost get more granular with the guidelines in a way.
First and foremost, they need to look at more actual empirical data that, you know, as measured by accelerometers. And then from there, it's like, okay, are we looking at how much do we need for either vigorous or moderate, and then make the ratio and adjust it there instead of this 1-to-2 based on energy expenditure.
You can really say, like, what is the range where you get this maximal risk reduction? We have that. And then we can just say, okay, for the guidelines, like, let's use that 5 to 35% risk reduction and say, for 5% risk reduction, you need X minutes, and then up to 35, you need that. That's where the dose response is, and that's how much activity you need. I agree.
It needs to be more like the minutes of either vigorous or moderate, probably mostly vigorous, because that's like the easiest. I mean, you could do, you know, 4 minutes of vigorous activity a day and it'd be actually meaningful, at least according to the data with the women, reducing the, you know, risk of heart attacks and stuff. So it needs to say you can accumulate these, you know, in bouts of one, even as low as 1 minute.